Man, there is no difference between Michelle Obama and Al Sharpton. This video is brought to you by Extreme Tees. Click on the link below. Make sure you put Kevin in the promo code and you'll get a 20% discount. Friends, we all want our lives to return to normal. It's time. But remember, you should never let your guard down because there will be a next time. We just don't know when. Peace of mind comes from having a stockpile of emergency food, water, and other supplies to get you through a sudden crisis. And that is why I urge you to check out My Patriot Supply. They're America's leading preparedness company, and they will help you become happily self-reliant. And that is for the next time. Their mission is your survival. Their food is delicious too. And it stays fresh up to 25 years because of the way it's packaged. And you won't have to worry about the next time something happens. You'll be prepared. If you order today, your food will be delivered in 2 to 3 days. Go to preparewithkevinscorner.com and do what you know you need to do. That is preparewithkevinscorner.com. Now, let's get back to the video. What's going on, America? Kevin from Kevin's Corner, where I try to make sense out of nonsense. And y'all, the Obamas make me sick to my stomach. There was, I guess, an interview with Michelle Obama, and she, of course, took this interview as an opportunity to further push this divide in our country and this narrative that America is a systemically racist country. And I'm thinking to myself, that's quite odd coming from the former black first lady. And how did you get there? How did you become the first lady if America is so systemically racist? But y'all, wait until you hear some of the things that she says is going on around America. And I'm thinking, are you delusional or are you making it up? She is making it up. Now let's get into this garbage, this nonsense.
Many of us still live in fear as we go to the grocery store or worry about walking our dogs or allowing our children to get a license. I mean, just imagine.
Aren't your girls driving?
They're driving. Yeah. But every time they get in a car by themselves, I worry about what assumption is being made by somebody who doesn't know everything about them. The fact that they are good students and polite girls, but maybe they're playing their music a little loud. Maybe somebody sees the back of their head and makes an assumption. I, like so many parents of black kids, have to, that the innocent act of getting a license puts fear in our hearts.
I mean, scared to go get a license. When is the last time you heard about any black person just going out for a dog walk and afraid to run into the police? First of all, if you live in a black neighborhood, I ain't talking about like a little suburb around here, you know. I mean, any black person in this area walking their dog feels extremely comfortable. But one thing I also know about the real urban area, they don't walk their dogs. They don't be out there with those pit bulls. They don't be out there like, you know what? Instead of letting my dog out the door to go free and poop and pee wherever he may, I'm going to be responsible. Put him on a leash and walk him around the neighborhood for a while. I'll be back, hun. They don't do that. But yet she's saying that folks are afraid to walk their dogs with no proof, nothing. Folks are afraid to go get a license? Since when? When is the last time you saw a black man walk in there? Excuse me, ma'am. I'd like to apply for a license. Somebody called the authorities. We got a black guy down here trying to get a license. What in the heck is she talking about? This is when you got to make up racism. This is that moment where you're saying, I belittle the intelligence of Americans so much and rely heavily on the emotional response from black and other minorities to just believe what I'm telling you without internalizing it. So now she's saying that her own kids just started driving and they're afraid of getting pulled over by the police. The Obama daughters are afraid of being pulled over by the police. Now, if you believe that, I just can't. I can't even work with you if you believe that. First of all, there's a high probability that they're not even driving themselves around. Secondly, if they're pulled over, I'm quite sure the first thing that come out of their mouth is, you know, I'm Michelle Obama and Obama's daughters, and the cops will go, oh, my bad, sorry, keep it moving. Does she not realize the stupidity that came out of her mouth? Of course she does, but she don't care because she's relying on your stupidity. The folks that's all believing in this racial narrative, which is being used to destroy our country, she's relying on you to believe that type of nonsense as the lady interviewing her is going, yes, I see. No, you don't see. They don't even live in a urban area. Oh boy, here we go. And secondly, if those two kids that they raise, which are being pampered, protected by white Secret Service people, white police officers, if they get pulled over and they do the same thing that some of these people who get pulled over and get themselves shot because they don't know how to not resist arrest, they don't know how to not take off speeding in their car, they respond negatively, and often it leads to a confrontation. But Michelle Obama is making it seem like if her daughters got pulled over, just because they're black, just because their music is loud, and they're following all the rules. Yeah, how you doing, officer? You need my license and registration? No, I won't be needing that because I'm here to shoot and kill black folks. So put that mess away. It means nothing to me. That's what she wants to plant in the mind of folks. And do you realize how dangerous this is? Coming from a former first lady, a former black first lady. So I'm going to have to dummy it down for dummies. Let's finish this first, and then I'll tell you why I have to dummy it down for who? Dummies.
That the innocent act of getting a license puts fear in our hearts.
Exactly how does that put fear in anyone's heart? I know when I went and got my license, I was joyful. I was excited about turning 16 and getting my license. When did we go backwards so far that this level of racism she's trying to make us believe it exists is on that level? When is the last time a black man or woman said, man, I would go down and get a license, but I'm afraid that the white cops are going to be lined up out there like whites only, no coming in here getting a license? She don't even have a case, an example of why that even makes sense. I mean, if you're going to throw something inflammatory out there like that, you should be able to go, like, for example, in 1984. Or in 2007. Nothing. It's just, I'm insinuating, I'm embellishing, and I'm making crap up, and I'm relying on dumb people who just believe it. Just believe it. So now I'm going to have to rip her a new one.
Would Malia and Sasha resist arrest? Would they? Forget about the loud music. Do they know how to talk to police? You've been surrounded by law enforcement now for 13, 14 years. The Secret Service, men with guns, some of them white men, have been protecting you. Malia and Sasha wouldn't know how to act. She got a scholarship to Princeton, a scholarship to Harvard Law School, and she's still venting about systemic racism.
Now, the irony in that alone should dispel everything she just said. She overcame every obstacle that she is crying about and saying that other black people are faced with ease. I mean, grew up in a nice home, went to Harvard University. I remember a time black folks couldn't even get in there. Went to Harvard University and then became a lawyer. She's been knocking it out the park since day one. But remember, guys, anytime white liberals are involved, they will allow a Michelle Obama and a Barack Obama to excel for one reason only. To do exactly what she's doing right now. Her and her husband are being used by the elitists that actually elevated them. And now they are the face of trying to destroy America with this narrative of division, relying on the fact that anybody that believes this would have to be a moron. You were the first lady. How did Barack Obama become president? I mean, did he win off of our 13% black vote? You think all of us got that type of voting power? No. It was white folks who voted this dude in. And yet, here she is saying that America's that systemically racist and all that. Why didn't they all just storm the White House, drag her and her husband out, take them out in the middle of some courtyard or something and just do something horrible to them? Why didn't they do that? Why did all those same systemically racist white folks she's talking about, or police, why did they say, you know what, man? I'd be danged if I guard a black president and his wife and his daughters. I don't even believe they should be president. You know what, man? They're going to have to be on their own. Why don't they call up the brothers or the Black Panthers or something? Maybe they can guard those you-know-whats. Nothing. The second time that they won, who voted? Do you think all of those votes came from all the brothers? This is ridiculous and it's dangerous, and they know it. And they're doing it on purpose. No different than LeBron James. He knows that white folks buy his shoes, his jerseys, they come to his games. Not once have they rushed the court because they're angry that a black dude's out there playing basketball and making more money than them. But somehow they're in constant threat of their lives by white people and the law. The same law that guards LeBron James, make sure he get to his little, his locker room without getting accosted. Those same racistly motivated police officers. Yeah. So you're telling me that this is a problem as you yourself isn't a victim of the problem, but you're making the problem seem like it is so in everybody's face that it's blatant, it's constant, and I should be seeing it. I should go hang out at the BMV the next time. Just go ahead, hang out there, watch black folks go in and out. Excuse me, sir, ma'am, going in there. Are you afraid to go in there and renew your license? Well, no. Why would I be afraid? Well, according to Michelle race baiting Obama, might as well be equal to Al Sharpton. She said we're afraid to go get a driver's license for some reason. And I guarantee you, every black person will say that's ridiculous, which it is, but it gets worse.
There's something that sets me apart from all my colleagues running in this race, and that is for the last 21 years, I've been raising a black son in America. And I have had to have very, very serious talks with my son Dante about how to protect himself on the streets of our city and all over this country, including how to deal with the fact that he has to take special caution because there have been too many tragedies between our young men and our police.
The threat from police against young black men of color is minuscule. They are exaggerating, they are distorting, they are sensationalizing, and they're doing it for political gain.
And you know what else they're doing? They're putting their children on the same level as some of the people you've seen get themselves shot because they don't have enough conflict resolution and social skills to deal with the police properly. So let me understand. Bill de Blasio, your son would behave like some of these folks that you've seen get shot, have a record, get pulled over, don't want to comply, resist arrest, start fighting with the cops, run from the cops, speed off in their car. You're putting your kid on that level. What you're trying to say is that all black people, regardless of their social skills, their behavior, their discipline, their ability to resolve problems without conflict, you're trying to say that there's no difference between us, and the cops don't see none of that. They can't read the fact that one dude got an attitude and is resisting arrest versus your son, who, if you raised him right, would be, hello, officer, sorry about that, here's my information. You're trying to make it seem like that cop wouldn't be able to tell the difference. Only thing that cop would see is both of them are black. It's not a difference between their behavior. That doesn't matter. The one fact is they're black. Therefore, for no reason, I just got to kill a black man. Here is something you can't understand, how I could kill a black man. That's what the cops are doing. That's what you're saying. These people are the worst. And the bad part is some people can't see that. Let's continue, though.
All those Black Lives Matters kids, they'd rather not have to worry about this. They're taken to the streets because they have to. They're trying to have people understand that we're real folks. And the fear that many have of so many of us is irrational. And it's based on a history that is just, it's sad and it's dark. And it's time for us to move beyond that.
Did you hear that nonsense? Did you hear her just try to make an excuse for Black Lives Matter? These folks are being motivated by people like her. Al Sharpton, you're no difference. There is no difference between her and Al Sharpton. No difference between her and Joy Reid. All of them. They are all on one accord. So now she's saying these thugs that are out there protesting by stealing stuff, playing loud music, joking, jumping on top of cars, attacking police officers, burning down stuff, harassing innocent folks. Now, this is where I got to make her look dumb. If this country was racist like that, if these cops were systemically racist, which would mean probably that the chief of police would be racist, the mayor would be racist. Do you think in 1920, if black folks were doing the stuff that they're doing now and calling it so-called protests, having a good time, tearing up stuff, do you think that they would be doing that joyfully? Do you think they would even be allowed to do that? You're saying they have to do it, and they're doing it because they're afraid. They don't look too afraid to me. Protesting when you knew they were going to let dogs out on you, protesting when you knew you were going to get sprayed with fire hoses, you were going to get shot with rubber balls, you might get shot with real guns, you were going to get beat, you were going to get thrown into the jail, and not only by the cops, but the judicial system would have backed those cops up too. Because remember, in certain areas, the mayor, that's right, man, go out there and do what you got to do, man, clear this stuff up. The mayor, the chief, all of them would have said, go out there and get those brothers from tearing up our neighborhoods, burning down businesses, invading restaurants. That stuff would never have happened and would not happen if this country was systemically racist. They would be shooting these folks on the spot. But yet they are destroying stuff with impunity. Impunity. It's rare to see them get drug off the jail. You got these type of folks egging them on, making excuses for them, and you're telling us they're doing it because they're afraid. As they are celebrating, running in, grabbing TVs, cash registers, dancing, all that stuff. You know why they're doing it? Not because they're afraid, because they know nothing's going to happen to them. They know there's no consequence because these people need that narrative. Michelle Obama needs to be able to say, there's unrest in the streets because of systemic racism. And if she was to actually recognize what they're doing and say, no, these are anarchists, these are kids taking advantage of the system, they're opportunists, then that would destroy her narrative. So now she got to lie to us, y'all, on TV and say they're afraid as we're watching them having a good time. They don't seem too scared. Show a clip of when they used to get sprayed by dogs, beat by the police, versus now, where the police are told to stand down and let them wreak havoc. And yet you got her, Michelle Obama, aka Al Sharpton, times infinity at this point, coming out here saying that's why they're doing it. Not because they're young opportunists and being encouraged by us because they know we're not going to do anything. It's because they're scared. Well, they don't look too scared to me. Now let's continue.
This is the country. White people made her first lady and her husband president twice. She went to Princeton. Her husband went to Harvard. She went to Harvard. They have had a great life here in this country. They're now essentially suddenly telling us is systemically racist. And that stuff about they have to take to the streets, these Black Lives Matter kids, do they have to do this? Do they have to intimidate even people of color?
Now, you see that picture? You know what's crazy about that? The only people that's scared are the people they're intimidating. The only people I see scared are the people that get stopped while they're just going about their day by Black Lives Matter people in the middle of the street yelling at them and trying to drag them out of their car. The only people that I see scared are the people that they harass. Now, remember, guys, they're doing it because they're scared, right? Well, do you think they'd be harassing white folks while they're eating in restaurants in 1940? Do you think they would be stopping folks, just taking over areas of cities and just, having a great time, being backed up by the mayors, the governors, things like that? Do you think they would have been doing that back then? No. They would have known the minimum that they would have been able to do is peacefully walk around with signs protesting and still might get eaten by dogs or beat. Let alone going up into restaurants, attacking folks, yelling at folks, demanding that they say certain things, going through all types of neighborhoods, showing up at politicians' houses. All of the things that they're doing right now, and she's trying to lie to us and tell us it's all being done in fear and out of fear. Because they're scared to go get driver's licenses and stuff. Baby Al, that's what she's Baby Al Sharpton. But let's continue.
We have to talk about it more, and we have to ask our fellow citizens to listen a bit more and to believe us.
I don't see what the problem is. What do you mean we need to talk about it more? We've been talking about this crap for last 5, 16, 20 years. What do you want to talk about? That is like a husband coming home or a wife coming home, and they talk about the same thing every day. Soon as you walk through the door, your husband or wife, we need to talk about the fact that you didn't put your shoes facing the wall the same direction. Yeah, for what? Every day we got to talk about the same situation. So here she is talking about we need to talk about racism some more, as if we don't already talk about it constantly. That's all we ever hear. Racism, racism, racism. Y'all want to talk about it because it's a weapon that you're using against the bigger voter base in America. Just by population, it is white Americans. They're the ones that are standing in the way of this liberal agenda. White Americans, the ones that are going, well, we did vote for Obama twice, but for some reason, we felt Trump would be a better choice because he's looking out for the American people. But according to her, it's racism. So now all of those white folks that voted for her and her husband must have suppressed all of that racism twice, held it down and waited like we're going to suppress all this white racism until we get our white nationalist candidate up. Then we're going to unleash it all. You see how stupid this stuff is. But you know what? What are you going to do? Stupid is as stupid does. They can only do this stupidity if people let them do it. And those people that's letting them do it are just as stupid. They're stupider. Because these people that's doing it don't believe it. But the folks who's believing it are the dummies. Let's wrap this up, y'all.
That means basically people not of color, shut up and listen. No, that is not going to happen. Now, you can fool the left, you can fool liberal elites, you can fool Gayle King, apparently, who's eating all of this stuff up
like Pac-Man.
And decoding Michelle for us.
It's very rare for the two of them to issue a statement about anything. They try very much not to get involved in a political way to speak, certainly against any party. They're very, very careful about that.
Now, you know what's funny about that? First of all, they've been involved with politics right after he got out and Trump came in, and then Biden. Right now, to this day, Obama is still running the White House. Him and a couple other key people are still running the White House. And she's trying to say, Michelle and Obama try not to get involved. They have been doing this for years now. When the people were rioting during Obama's term, he was calling them thugs. He was condemning it. Then when Trump came in and they were rioting, he was saying that Trump's unleashing our military and our law enforcement on these folks unconstitutionally. These folks have been speaking out against Trump, speaking out against Middle America, using the race narrative to divide. All of these things have been done behind the scenes with him and the rest of those cronies. Susan Rice, John Kerry, darn creepy, sleepy, sloppy, sleazy, slimy Joe, Pelosi, all of them are in cahoots. And yet this lady who did that interview is sitting up there trying to make us believe that, you know, she reluctantly had to even go there because they try to stay, you know, away from all of that stuff. Man, who you think you fooling, man? I didn't just get here and just got here, can't tell, been here, nothing. Word. So anyway, y'all, I had to call this mess out. I couldn't even believe it, man. I'm sitting there listening to this lady like, what? You're the former first lady, rich, white folks buying your books, supporting you, and you calling them all right. I'm telling you right now, white liberals are the dumbest folks in the world, and so are minorities who believe this stuff. Why in the heck are you supporting black rich elitists and they're calling you racist? And you're saying to yourself, well, I mean, they're fighting against racism and they're calling other white folks racist, not me. Soon as you adopt an opinion that's different from theirs, you then too become a racist. You ain't even got to just adopt all of the conservative values and views. All it takes is one key, adoption, and all of a sudden you get thrown in to a racist. Same thing with black folks as well. I'm thinking to myself, why would I listen to a LeBron James? I mean, I'm looking at this guy. He's rich. He's on TV. He's famous. All these folks like Joey Reid, all of that's going on with them. And yet they're telling me life's hard because of racism and cops riding around aimlessly, looking for black people to simply kill because they are black. And you have not heard of one attack on any of these folks. In fact, they all have protection by white cops. And yet folks are believing them. And that's why they do it, because folks are believing them. And it's a crying shame. And I got to call them out. God bless y'all. God bless America. And we see y'all next time in Kevin's Corner. Take care. This video is brought to you by Extreme Tees. Click on the link below. Make sure you put Kevin in the promo code and you'll get a 20% discount.